That perfect parent. There's a mom at school who always looks put together. Her name is Jennifer, and I don't think I've ever seen her in anything other than athleisure that actually looks athletic, the kind with matching sets and pristine white sneakers that somehow never get dirty. Her hair is always done. Her kids' lunches are elaborate bento boxes with food arranged into shapes. She volunteers for everything. Room parent, PTA treasurer, class party coordinator. She packs her kids healthy snacks. She limits their screen time. She takes them to museums on weekends. She represents everything I'm not doing right. Last Tuesday I showed up to school pickup in the same yoga pants I'd slept in. I hadn't showered. My hair was in a greasy bun. I'd worked from home that day, which really meant I'd sat at my laptop in a fugue state, accomplishing almost nothing, then panicked at 2:45 p.m. when I realized I needed to leave in 15 minutes. Jennifer was there, of course, chatting with other moms, laughing. Looking fresh and energized like pickup wasn't the end of a long day, but the beginning of an afternoon full of enriching activities. I slunk to the back of the crowd, hoping to be invisible. Ria ran to me when class let out. "Can we go to the park?" "Not today, sweetie." "Please, everyone else is going." I looked over. Sure enough, a group of moms were organizing an impromptu park playdate. Jennifer was at the center, coordinating who had which kids, what time they'd leave, whether anyone needed sunscreen. "We can't today," I said to Ria. "I have work stuff." It was a lie. I didn't have work stuff. I had dishes in the sink and laundry that had been sitting in the dryer for 2 days, and a complete inability to pretend I was a functioning human being for another 2 hours at a park. Ria's face fell. "You always say that." "I know, I'm sorry, maybe next time." We walked to the car in silence. In my peripheral vision, I could see Jennifer and the other moms herding kids toward the park, all smiles and energy and togetherness. I am failing, I thought. This is what failing looks like. At home, I scrolled through Instagram while the kids watched TV. There was Jennifer's latest post, her kids at the park, golden hour lighting, genuine smiles. Caption: "Impromptu park adventures are the best kind. Blessed mom life macking memories." I felt something ugly twist in my chest. My kids were in the other room watching their 3rd hour of screen time because I couldn't muster the energy to do anything else. Ria had wanted to go to the park, and I'd said no because I was too tired, too depressed, too much of a mess. Jennifer's kids were making memories, mine were watching YouTube. I kept scrolling, other moms from school, everyone's highlight reel. Birthday parties with elaborate themes, family hikes, kids playing instruments, doing sports, winning awards, homemade Halloween costumes, beautifully decorated playrooms, kids eating vegetables. Every single post was evidence of my inadequacy. That night, Chris found me crying in the bathroom. "What's wrong?" "I'm a terrible mother." "You're not a terrible mother." "I am. I never take them to the park. I let them watch too much TV. I don't pack them cute lunches. I can barely get them to school on time. Other parents are doing all these activities and crafts and adventures, and I'm just not." "Who are you comparing yourself to?" "Everyone, Jennifer, the moms at school, people on Instagram, everyone who has their shit together." Chris sat on the edge of the tub. "You know Instagram isn't real life, right?" "But the park playdate was real. That mom who always volunteers is real. The elaborate birthday parties are real. I'm not making that up." "You're also working full-time, and dealing with depression, and managing 2 kids with their own challenges. You can't compare yourself to people whose circumstances you don't know." "Jennifer works too. She has 2 kids too. She still manages to do everything." "Maybe she has help you don't know about. Maybe she's struggling in ways she doesn't show. Maybe her life isn't as perfect as it looks." "Or maybe," I said, "some people are just better at this than me." A week later, I ran into Jennifer at Target. She was alone, no kids, no athleisure, just regular clothes and a cart full of frozen meals. "Oh my God, hi," she said when she saw me. "Please don't judge my cart, it's been a week." I looked at the frozen pizzas, the chicken nuggets, the pre-made salads. "I thought you did the bento box thing." She laughed, but it sounded tired. "That's for school lunches, and even then only sometimes. Most days they get a sandwich and some crackers. The Instagram ones are when I'm feeling particularly ambitious and also procrastinating on actual work. Wait, really? Are you kidding? I don't have time to make those every day. I work from home and I'm barely keeping up. The bento boxes are like my one thing I do to feel like I'm winning at something. I stared at her. But you're always so together. I'm really not. I volunteer for stuff because if I'm at school, I'm not at home looking at my disaster of a kitchen. And I post the good moments on Instagram because who wants to see photos of my kids having a meltdown at bedtime? She grabbed another frozen pizza. Last week, my kids watched 6 hours of TV on Saturday because I was too depressed to get off the couch. I didn't shower for 3 days. I ordered DoorDash for dinner 4 nights in a row. You have depression too. Diagnosed, medicated, in therapy for 2 years. I just don't post about that part. We stood there in the frozen food aisle, 2 tired moms with carts full of shortcuts, and I felt something shift. I started noticing things after that. The mom who always seemed to have elaborate craft projects. She mentioned in passing that her mother-in-law comes over 3 afternoons a week to help. The mom whose kids were always in matching outfits. Someone else told me she spends hours online shopping at night because she has insomnia from anxiety. The mom who hosted the amazing birthday parties. I overheard her on the phone in the school parking lot, crying to someone about how overwhelmed she was. Everyone was struggling. Everyone was barely holding it together. Everyone had something they were good at, and everything else was held together with duct tape and wishful thinking. I was comparing my behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, not realizing that behind their highlight reels were the same messy, imperfect, barely functioning reality I was living. I'm not saying this realization fixed everything. I still see Jennifer's Instagram posts and feel that familiar pang of inadequacy. I still compare myself to other parents and come up short. But now when it happens, I remind myself, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know what they're struggling with, what help they have, what they're sacrificing to make the things I see look easy. Maybe Jennifer has her mother-in-law nearby. Maybe she's in debt from all the activities. Maybe she cries in the Target parking lot too. Maybe the mom who never yells at her kids is yelling at home, just not where anyone can see. Maybe the dad who coaches Little League is ignoring his own mental health. Maybe everyone is faking it and no one is actually sure what they're doing. Last week I took the kids to the park. Not because I felt like I should, not because I was trying to be like Jennifer or anyone else, but because it was a nice day and I had a rare burst of energy and Ria asked, and I actually wanted to say yes. We stayed for an hour, the kids played. I sat on a bench and scrolled my phone for half of it, but I was there. That counted. On the way home, Liam said, "That was fun." Yes, yeah, can we do it again sometime? Sure. Not we'll go every week, not I'll be better about this, just sure. Because I'm learning that good enough parenting isn't about doing everything right. It's not about Pinterest perfect lunches or constant enrichment or never letting them watch TV. It's about showing up when you can, being honest when you can't, trying again tomorrow when today doesn't go well. It's about recognizing that the perfect parents you're comparing yourself to don't exist. They're myths, highlight reels, carefully curated versions of much messier realities. Everyone is struggling, everyone is barely holding it together. And somehow, that makes it a little easier to hold it together myself. I still follow Jennifer on Instagram, but now when I see her posts, I think about her in the frozen food aisle, loading up on chicken nuggets and admitting she didn't shower for 3 days. I think about how we're all just trying our best with what we have. And I try to remember that my best doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It just has to be mine.